call you, by the way? What should we call you?
That's Tiger, fam.
Just Tiger.
Tiger.
You know
What, from the
Tiger?
park?
Yeah, not the
Yeah.
black one, the mixed race one. Hey, what Tiger? What you mixed race or you black? You're half white, innit?
I'm mixed race.
Not the guy with the book that bring the ting book.
No, I don't really bring books.
Okay.
He wears the Make History Great Again hat, man. That's his screensaver. I mean, that's his avatar right now.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, what with a little fluffy beard sort of thing? Freckles.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I do have freckles. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, he's cool, man. He's all right. Damn. Are we live yet?
I think so. I need to. Yeah. We live still. We live.
You sure? Yeah. What were you saying, brother? You said you didn't live in a certain area or something.
Yeah,
like
no,
that,
I don't live like in a dangerous part of London, but I'm not saying that drill music is linked, but I think that drill music isn't really helping, and it's kind of like normalizing like toxic behavior within certain dangerous areas. And I don't know. Yeah. And that's what I kind of think about the whole drill music thing.
Well, that's what I mean.
I don't even listen to drill music, but like, it's not just that. On this morning, there was a young man who went on TV wearing a ski mask, and he was defending his lyric, "I'll chop up Theresa May and put her in the fridge." I know in context, it was because of her support of like the killings in Yemen. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, obviously Theresa May's a bitch for like supporting that kind of shit. But like, when you see that kind of image and, you know, there's the kind of issues, you know, with violence in London at the moment, and a young man of color wears a ski mask and defends those kinds of lyrics, that kind of like, that frames a very negative image of Black British people.
Well, that's why they had him on there then, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know whose idea. They never should have allowed that fellow on.
You know what's funny? Do you know what's funny? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're talking about drill minister, and you've missed the context of the song.
Yeah, no, I've never heard the song in my life. I just heard it.
So basically, the song is called Political Drilling.
Yeah. And
the song is actually made up of quotes from parliamentarians to other parliamentarians.
Oh, okay.
So that thing about chopping up Theresa May and putting the body parts in the fridge was actually said by a Conservative MP.
Really?
Yes. Right.
In her own party.
So the Conservative MP. So the whole point is that, and I forget the name of the Conservative MP, but the whole point of the song was to juxtapose the lyrics in drill to statements made in the British Parliament by MPs who are supposed to be respectable, and putting them up against each other to make a point. And so it really had nothing to do with Yemen and that kind of stuff. Although that would have been a point in and of itself, because if a man's talking about chopping up a woman, and this woman is supporting, you know, the killing of people in someone else's nation, I mean, which is the worst crime? But yeah, that's it. So that's an interesting point right there. You know,
I mean, that's all very weird. I mean, I don't know if Shakara, you're saying that they're basically trying to say that they're on the same level, because whoever said that in Parliament, there isn't a culture that's verbalized in the manner that is verbalized amongst ourselves. I wasn't specifically talking about drill music. I'm talking about any form of music that's said by people, especially if you're down at the bottom of the system that you're in, and you're talking about killing each other in your lyric. And it's seen to be manifesting from, you know, for me, I've seen it more from NW time really take off from there, right?
Yeah.
And from there, it's just got worse and worse. So for me, this is all incitement to murder black people. That's it.
Yeah.
Just black people talk.
The lyrics are
talking about killing other black people.
The lyrics are problematic, in it. That when man is not defending black people talking about killing other black people, but I think the point of this particular song was to highlight a contradiction, and part of that point is that, like, a lot of the youths that do drill,
hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, a lot of the.
Did he break up?
Sorry, God.
Did Shakara break up?
No, I can hear you. It's fine, man.
I can hear him though.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you break. Must be me.
Yeah,
All right,
so
go
I'm
on.
saying a lot of the youth them that do drill and all kinds of black music, to be honest with you, are often trying to escape a circumstance. Yeah. And that circumstance is the actual reality of the lyrics that they're speaking about. I think it's a flaw to blame drill because the violence in our communities existed prior to drill. Yeah.
Yeah.
These youths come up and see the violence in it. They didn't create it. They're not the architects of it. They've come up and seen it, and so they're rapping about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that,
but I stick up in a minute there, Shaka, because this is a question I wanted to ask as well. 'Cause enough time when I hear, cause the title of this show, I don't know if the man them saw the title still. It's called what diverse opinion. What did you say, Tiger? Diverse opinions, about black betterment, and I
Yeah.
got slash what I was originally gonna call it just alone, in-house cleaning.
Yeah.
So
Wait, do you know a fella called Dan? He pops up a lot on Reels live stream.
I'm not sure. Who what third option? Third option is the name.
I think like his name's Dan, and he pops up on Reels live stream, and he's pretty like funny. I thought you might know him because I know like he doesn't go to the park, but I think he does.
I think I
He
know
had
you're
a
talking about.
debate.
What about him?
He had a debate and he beat Ralph on the whole race realism thing. I was just wondering if he was going to join us.
I am gonna send him the link still. But
Okay.
definitely, what I'm saying is reason I bring up the name of the show, in-house cleaning, is because one of the questions that I wanted to ask is what I've noticed is that more time when we do talk about specifically the music industry and the man them who spit bars about murdering each other and they're in with each other's wife and robbing from people and all of these things. And not only that as well, 'cause I don't want to leave out the acting scene as well. 'Cause I look at it like it's the similar thing, you get me? Like man them who portray themselves as gangsters and make movies that seemingly glorify badmanism. You get me?
Yeah.
When
Do
we
you know
talk about that, but let me finish asking the question though, Tiger. When we talk about them in a critical manner, I do hear a defense stance in terms of raw. Them man there is just saying their life or the reason why they're talking greasy like that is through circumstances beyond their control. So I'm proposing raw. Let's analyze the impact of whether or not it's like what's responsible for them talking the way they're talking. Let's analyze the impact of the way that man's talking. You get me?
Yeah.
And the way that man's portraying a certain lifestyle and glory. Because there's like I always say as well, there's one of the defenses is that man's just saying their reality. There's a distinct difference between the saying your reality and describing your reality to glorifying and promoting a certain lifestyle. You get me? Me personally, trying to look at the thing objectively, I would say that the man them seem to be glorifying and promoting a decadent lifestyle. That's detrimental for black people. You get me? More than man's just actually just expressing what's happening in the ends. You get me? Cause I do hear certain quote unquote conscious man talk about this, like the similar subjects of what's happening in their ends, but they're talking about it from a more news reporter, newsworthy type reporter, investigative reporter type situation. You get me? So them man there, I got time for them man there. You get me? But the rest of them, like the question I'm asking is if man should we keep appeasing? I'm looking at like man's just appeasing them and they're just perpetuating a problem, and then it's worse for everybody. The little children are growing up without no education in terms of how to deal with each other in kindness, and they're just stabbing each other and stabbing people, innocent people, and fucking each other up, fam, and fucking up our future. You get me? We're gonna have our little youths, and we're gonna try and teach them a certain level of respect and discipline for each other, and then they're gonna bump into one of these wild youths that's like on a high, you get me? Like literally higher for certain musics and gonna do them something and then we grieving. You get me? So I'm saying raw, I'm proposing. Should man drop a bomb and wipe out them blood clot or what?
nah, all right. So I was at an event the other day, yeah, and I was filming for Got Kush, right? And this subject came up. And Jamelia was on the panel. Yeah.
I'm bugged. It was that Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
I'm bugged. I missed that, but I'm glad as well because I called the exchange with Black Man and Macri. You get me?
Yeah, like, well, that's the reason why man were at the corner still. Yeah, but Jamila said something which I've said before. Many people have said before. Yeah, about this conversation, and I'm saying it. I'm mentioning it because she made the point and because she's Jamila. Yeah. In the sense of the fact that she comes out of the music industry, so she has some sensibility about how certain things run. Now, but the first thing is that what I don't why you hear people like myself and others here talk in the way that we do about these things is because of the first point that she made, which was we like to talk about these children, yeah, as though they're not our children.
We say, oh, stick a pin. We say children. I'm talking about all big man that's older than me as well, you know, fam.
Yeah, all right. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of the people that are doing drill are little more than children.
Yeah. True story.
Like, I'm saying, we'll talk about pit, literal, yeah? And people that just left Pitney. You know what I'm saying? Right,
Can I say something?
One sec. But even if we're talking about people in their 20s, yeah, like these people are not people. They come from our community. They're our children.
They're us, man. They're me back in the day, fam. So
exactly.
Ain't a hypocrite. You get me? Like man is trying to consider ways of how man can reform them. You get me? But I don't want to appease. I feel like appeasing, man, or just making excuses, continuing excuses for man. I'm gonna let you finish. Do your thing.
Yeah, there's a difference between appeasement and contextualizing, in it. So like a man like me now, I say what I'm saying, yeah, but then tomorrow I'm gonna be teaching like a creative writing workshop whereby I'm actually actively deterring, yeah, the youth them from certain lyrics here and trying to inspire different kinds of lyrics in the music. That's what I'm saying.
We don't sell the lyrics. Then we don't sell.
Right, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, and showing a different thing. And the only point is that you cannot. You look at the condition. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? The music is a reflection of the condition, and the impact of the music is that it reinforces the condition that it reflects. So it's a double-edged sword in that respect. You see what I'm saying? But if we're talking about chicken and the egg, yeah, and them kind of things there. The starting point of this whole equation, you can't solve an equation from the middle. You have to start from the beginning. And the starting point of this whole equation is the society that we live in and the environment, yeah, that the youth are coming up in. That is the reality. So if we want to change the music, then we have to change the environment. That is a simple fact. Yeah. At the same time, if we want to change the environment,
I'm not sure that I fully agree with that still. If we want to change the music, then we have to change the environment.
Yeah.
I hear you to a degree still, but as I said, man can. I've heard man making the same music, well, the same subject matters, but they're not talking in a manner of glorifying the fuckery.
We change the environment via changing the music. That's the way we got to do this.
That's another option. Because you know what it is, Shaka. I don't want to look at the youths them like they're just fully zombies. Like they ain't got no self-control or self-responsibility.
I'm not saying that, bro, because all the youth them ain't making that music, yeah. As you pointed out. But there's a reason why the popping music is that music. There's a reason why.
I would say a big part of it is the marketing and the business side behind it as well. And I want to get into that as well, specifically in an effort to I'm gonna let you say your things. So I'm gonna try and remember this, but in an effort to try and change the mindset of the youths them that are making the glorifying badness music. I got something for them still to try and persuade them of why it don't make no sense to get me on this rap snitches thing. But I'm gonna let you continue on your thing.
What I'm saying, bro, is that as long as there is violence in communities, there will be music about violence in communities.
No, but Shaka.
I'm saying.
No, because my issue isn't music about violence in the community. If there's violence in the community,
I know, but my point is that.
But I want you to be specific though, fam. Because I don't want people to think that I'm arguing against something that I'm not arguing against.
No, I know what I'm saying though, bro. What I'm saying is, yeah, like I'm talking about the condition in it. So I'm saying that reality will be reflected in different ways in it. Just what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like people that are abused, yeah. Let's say abused as children, sexually abused as children, yeah. They don't react in the same way. Yeah, some people are gonna go off the rails, yeah, and some people are gonna go mental health institution. Some people are gonna go counselling, yeah. and try to channel that in a more productive way. Everyone ain't gonna respond the same way, and you're gonna get all reactions. But the problem is not the youth that goes off the rails. The problem is sexual molestation. That's the problem. Right? Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that.
No. They're both a problem, but it's not the root. The you who goes off the rails isn't the root of the problem.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm talking about root.
But you have to be careful, because man said the problem is one thing, and he said it's not the other thing. They're both a problem.
I'm correcting. I'm saying the root problem. Yeah. We have to challenge the root problem, and it's not about defending the music and them kind of things. It's not about that, innit? It's not about that. And there are people that do that work in it, like in the sense of what it is when we're talking publicly about these things. Yeah, like if I'm talking directly to the youth, that are saying certain things, I'm gonna have a conversation that pertains to them and what they can do differently. Yeah, but if I'm talking to the community at large, yeah, about this particular issue, then we're having a conversation about our community at large. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see no other way to challenge this thing, innit? You get me? And if go on, say I spoke up for long.
What I was gonna say was, one of the things, Leon, when you were saying that they said people rap about their experience in their community and so on. If you notice this trend, somebody threw this out there and it sort of just rolled, and it's something that's repeated, that they're just rapping about their experience and so on. When did it become our tradition to glorify being at the bottom? When we would normally talk about suffering, it would be our suffering in relation to where we want to be out of the suffering. Do you get me? So we would talk about, we're in this thing, but we're going to do better. We're going to get somewhere else. But instead, we've become in this merry-go-round where just keep repeating the same thing about what we want to do, and it's just going worse and worse and worse. Where did that become our tradition, our way of doing things? So someone has told us, given some stupid bunch of response and statement to give, which is, oh, they're just rapping or talking about what they live as the only, the option. But that's not the case.
Sorry? Yeah. Wait, can I just say something? Look, as much as I totally think that the whole question about is rap music related to the problems in the black community is relevant, I still kind of think it's kind of demeaning to black people to assume that all the problems come from the fact that because they listen to certain types of music that it's related to any kind of I mainly, I'm not saying I don't want to talk about this topic, but I would actually also like to talk about ancient black history and the colonial era and slave trade and things like Black Wall Street, and show historical alternative ways in which black people prospered and how it can be brought back. Yeah, I mean if that's cool.
Well, I mean, bro, you don't need to go.
Man can go into that in a minute still.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now
we're
gonna go on.
Bro, yeah, here he is, Dan. I love Dan.
Bro, the thing is, beside that music, when this specifically, I keep going back to NWA when this really started coming out with this thing about black people or anti-black murder music, right? We had reggae music, right? That was something that is the best example for us and, our liberation music, so to speak. Do you get what I'm saying? You had such a massive area. Then to introduce the more slackness you speak, that get promoted, the more foolishness you talk within the reggae scene, then calling it ragga and all the rest of it. Do you get what I'm saying? The point is, we don't need to go all the way back to ancient Egypt or anything ancient to see what type of music we were saying, even though, because remember, a lot of the people that were getting the most problems from police in UK was who? Rastas, who were down with that type of music. So they were talking about Bun Babylon, right? That's what they're talking about, a system. The youth, them are talking about bun each other. Music, bun each other, shoot each other. They might have had something F the police, but their whole ethos was not, the whole system itself. Public Enemy, however, was on that.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And there was
But that's the point, though, bro. When Public Enemy was on that, remember that there was a time. Now, and obviously, this is me researching because I was alive when Public Enemy came out, but I was too young to really experience the full impact, of Public Enemy. But my understanding is that when Public Enemy came out, Public Enemy was the biggest group in the world, on that front, innit? And there was still, and that was at a time when what was popping in black music, yeah, especially new trends in black music, was still kind of the the result of the cultural domain of black people, if that makes sense. Yeah. So because black people were on a certain vibe, when Public Enemy came out, people responded to it, and because of that, that propelled Public Enemy into the stratosphere. The difference now is that success is now defined by the corporations who own black music. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is the fundamental difference. Okay. And so the reason why
All right, then. I want to get into that next.
Right, the youth them that are not making music that is self-destructive to black people, yeah, the reason why that music is not as popping oftentimes, yeah, certain times, is principally because the market has been defined a certain way, and stratospheric success, yes, has been the pathway to stratospheric success has been channeled and dug along a certain path. So NWA comes out, yeah, and becomes the number one selling group, yeah, in rap music a couple years after Public Enemy drops. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's the path. That is the path to success. We don't even have to talk about violence. We could talk about materialism. We could talk about hypersexualization. Yeah, all of these trends, yeah, have been are cultures that have been induced into black music in some way, shape, or form, inflated and mass marketed in ways that our conscious music has not been. Now, the fundamental contradiction here is not necessarily the companies, because they're owned by white men and they're gonna do what white men do. Yeah. With that.
I think white is one way of defining them.
Yeah, okay, well, we could come back to another way of defining them. I myself.
Are you talking about like Leo Cohen, or are you talking about essentially Jewish American interest? Was that the point that you were making there, Tiger?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if
seems that you wanted to adjust the resolution. I mean,
yeah, I'm not
sure it necessarily matters, but yeah, maybe.
I say, like, if you meet these people, they wouldn't class themselves as white.
What would they call?
And I'm not trying to be anti-Semitic. I'm just saying that a lot of, trying to mold them with the and I'm not trying to say all Jews, but obviously like these.
Nah, but I'm not even gonna do that. I'm sorry. The reality is that everybody that runs things is not necessarily a Jew. Yeah, we're talking.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't. I'm just. Yeah.
We're talking about the collective interests of the West in general, and that takes into consideration more than just Jews. Yeah, we're talking about Americans, we're talking about Britons, Spanish, French, all of them. And there are Jews among all of them, but all of them are not Jews. So I'm not gonna put it on Jews. There is a Eurocentric axis, yeah, that dominates this thing. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
But my essential point though is the fact that it's because they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Yeah,
I want to come in straight after you, Shaka. You say finish everything.
Right, but my essential point is that as a community, we have not organized sufficiently to build institutions that promote music and art, yeah, that project us in the
disagree
that we want to project ourselves.
I feel like rappers like Akala and Loki, like they promote very positive messages in their music. And
Loki,
pardon me. Pardon me. I wanted to come in and announce that. I beg man, let me come in real quick.
Yeah,
what I'm saying now is that this is more directed to the them that might hear this for whatever reason. Maybe somebody gonna dash this and direct this to them. My thing is like, boom, on the thing of rap snitches now. How the system set up? You just heard what Shaka said. He just dropping the bars about how the music game set up for man to profit of a man talking crud about murdering each other and sexualization and all these things. Boom. The lifestyle what man's coming from. The lifestyle that man's coming from. If man's really on the road and living that, like living what you're saying, what you're talking about. Like when man's on the road, if man ain't doing music, man are ducking from the police, innit? Man are ducking from the spotlight. Man are trying not to be seen doing what man's talking about, what man's doing, innit? So the conflict of interest comes when like man's recognize that people are talking about everything what I'm doing and they're making lots of money for doing it like legally.
Can I ask a question? Is
Hey,
like, do you think that
yo,
there's
hey Tiger, you got a bad habit, you know, fam. I ain't finished.
Sorry.
I ain't finished doing what I'm doing, you know, fam. All right. So people are making money talking about what I'm actually living, what I'm there trying to conceal, what I don't want people to know, because if they know, I'm gonna go prison. But they seem to be able to be like avoiding prison while still talking all of this crud. Like they can't be doing what man's doing. Man are thinking that, but then they start seeing people who they know are doing what they're doing, talking about it and making money. So they're like, rah, I know I'm not supposed to be talking about this. Like this is why I think it's called the trap, innit? I know I'm not supposed to be talking about this because it's gonna bring that spotlight on me that I've been dodging all my life. You get me? But
Yeah.
But to do so, I might get no, like the ratings that whatever it is, fam. I might get the recognition and the respect to make my record sell. You get me? Or to get me booked to come and perform at certain events and all of that. You get me? So there's a conflict of interest. That's why it's called the trap. But you got to realize, fam, you's a rap snitch if you start talking about any type of crud, what you're doing. You's a snitch, you dry snitching on yourself. You ain't even dry snitching, you wet snitching on yourself.
Yeah.
And that's you're breaking rule number one, you get me, for money. And not only that, I'll say use a sellout. That's the definition of a sellout. A man who's got principle and will betray their principle in order to make money. That's the definition of a sellout. Use a sellout, man. So that's how come I'm saying raw. How am I now? A man who knows people that live that life and are discreet like that. How am I to look at man them who's out here singing about everything what they're doing, drawing bare attention to themselves, and they're supposed to be like, not, I'm not supposed to know, fam. Unless I'm doing the crime with you, why do I know that you're doing crime? You're snitching on yourself and you're just drawing attention. You're baiting up the man them. You're a sellout, fam. You're a snitch. But it don't work like that. Man are actually getting ratings out here. Like bad man are rating them, and bad man are lining up to take their position to spit their bars on the track and G up their own lifestyle and be snitches as well themselves. There's one tune from MF Doom called Rap Snitches, fam. It's a banger. I beg everybody go and listen to that real quick, fam.
Oh yeah, no, there's a
this.
YouTuber who did a video. He's like a leftist, but he did a video called self snitching, and he just and he makes it very clear that like this does.
I don't know who that brother is still, but yes, it sounds like a similar thing what I'm talking about still. It's a true,
Yeah.
but go true. I ain't heard that one myself. I don't know, that one might be corny. You get me? I ain't gonna really promote it because I ain't heard it. But it's the ethos of what I'm saying still. But yeah, go take in the MF Doom one when you got a moment. Type that in on YouTube and press enter. MF Doom, Rap Snitches. Listen to that and realize that man are really out here G'ing up, like selling man's integrity in order to make money. So for man them, this is the direct message to the man them, innit? I beg man reconsider and recognize that you ain't supposed to be talking about what you're doing, fam. And even if you stop living that life, you ain't supposed to be glorifying it. Like, cause even you're still snitching, you get me? Because you're gonna talk about certain things, about doing certain things a certain way. That man on the road is still doing it that way. You get me? So you ain't supposed to be snitching on yourself and snitching on people. I don't know why man is supporting that, like glorifying and cheering for man and laughing and clapping. When you listen, how you gonna be listening to a man's record when a man's talking about he wants to dig out your wife and he's gonna catch him at 6 p.m. in a black BM with your BM? Are you gonna be laughing and clapping when he's talking about that could have been your own wife he's talking about? You get me? Like man's telling you that I'm trying to disrespect you. I'm gonna spit in your face, in your children's face, and you're there clapping and singing like you're some waste man, fam. I don't understand, it's a sickness, fam. So I beg the man them, just look inside yourself and have some self-respect and don't snitch on yourself and snitch on everybody else who's coming from where you're coming from. You get me? You're making it half a real man out here, fam, who don't talk their business. You get me? Yeah. So yeah, that's all I want to say. That ties in with the points that Shaka was making before, that the industry is a trap, fam. The industry is set up for man to make a spectacle of themselves. You get me? So that they can profit, fam. And the people them that's making the lion's share of the money out of this, I'm gonna talk to you about this as well, Shaka. We both got a little media companies. Man have to put something out, you get me? like some investigative journalism, but a UK version. Because most of the time I see it on a US version. You get me, when man are talking about who's running the music industry and making the lion's share of the money, and who's performing and taking who's taking the most highest risks, who's GM himself up, fam. Who's trying to live this who's trying to glorify this gangster lifestyle that every time they go out on the road and they see real gangsters, they get tested because they're trying to portray a lifestyle that they know if they portray that lifestyle, it's more likely that I'm gonna get more money from this record industry business. You get me? So we want to talk about all of that, fam, because it's all connected, you get me? But yeah, I've spoken for a bit still, sir. Our next man can take over, you get me?
Yeah, big up yourself, Leon, man. Yeah, the self-snitching thing. Well, I don't know how to I don't know how to address that. I mean, a part of me that there's a kind of like I don't know what you call it, like it's fatalistic and it's kind of romantic. There's this sort of romanticism to road life and to kind of
Yo, the thing's fam, is glamorous, fam. Like I said, I'll be watching.
Yeah.
I'll be watching all Top Boy. I'll be listening to certain lyrics. Like even when back in the day when man was a youth man, fam, and I used to listen to certain gangster rhythms, gangster music. I used to put myself in a mindset. Like man say that it's just music and it don't have no effect. Man are trying, like I don't know, maybe it didn't have no effect on you. You get me? But like if man used to consistently listen back, like track to track to track, man talking about how much of a bad man is. How much gunman boss, how much girl man there with, you get me? How much man rob and all of these things there. Yo, it put me in. I'm talking about for myself now. It put me in a mindset where when I'm driving my car or when I'm walking down the street, them time there was a youth man still. When I'm on the bus and I'm seeing a man who's looking like they might have something to do with that type of life, I'm looking at them with my face like the thoughts that's in my mind. I ain't got no good thoughts in my mind, fam. And sometimes it shows on my face, you get me, and I get into madness because man think I'm looking at man funny because all of these thoughts are subconsciously going through my mind, you get me?
Yeah, for
like
real.
I'm looking at man like man's food, you get me? A man must be looking at me like I'm crazy. So yeah, fam, like it's a lifestyle that's being glamorized and glorified, and it has a real effect on people, you get me? But yeah, go on, fam. Oh, yo, one sec. Racial realism. Check your email, cause I send your emails to.
Big up Mr. IC3. Yeah, I kind of feel like a lot of these kids are resigning themselves to the fact that they're criminalized. They see limited prospects in the future. I mean the whole cliche, the whole dead or in jail by 25 cliche. If people accept that as a reality, then I would say a lot of these kids, they just want to be remembered. They want to have something out there that lives on after them. You know, it's I can't tell you the amount of youths I've seen. I've seen them come up and die, and that's weird seeing that because that didn't used to happen when I was growing up. Like pretty much everyone I remember from listening to music and listening to pirate radio and listening and little tape packs and whatever else, they're all still there. The one or two of them that drop out, you're surprised to hear it when they drop out. Now it's like a kid will have a video on Grime Daily or Link Up TV, and then there's dedications to him a year and a half later. He hasn't even bust. But there's something there in kind of being bigger than yourself, being bigger than your ends, being bigger. Because I mean, this is what the internet is, isn't it? It's a global medium. You know, this idea of like the global local, like people can from all around the world can tune in and see what's going on in your hometown, in your bits, on your estate, with your man. Them, if that's what you want to put out there, people will tune into that. We know that this kind of voyeurism, and there is a voyeurism to it as well, because there's people who watch it for the spectacle.
What's that mean? Voyeurism.
Voyeurism is it's kind of people who get an excitement. It's the act of getting excited at sort of watching something, at a spectacle, taking part in a spectacle. It's
It's creepy people who like to watch stuff, basically.
But
Yeah,
they ain't taking part in it themselves, like from the safety
But
of
I'm
their own
taking-
home.
Of course, the separation is very, very distinct. So, they can be in, they can be from middle class backgrounds, and in the case of, I mean, this was pretty much the case. This is what was one of the driving marketing forces in hip hop in America, was selling hip hop as a package to what they call it. I mean, middle America, like the Bible Belt. Getting white kids into a culture that was not necessarily something that they'd relate to directly, but something that they'd aspire to participate in. And this aspiration to participate is interesting because it kind of goes back to what you were saying, Leon, about how certain bad men will see what people are saying, and they're like, to them, they're just hearing their life represented by someone else. Someone else is talking on the badness that they kept up. And it used to be the case that in the 80s in Harlem and certain places and places where you had this crossover of like hip hop and street money, street economics, whatever you want to call it, you used to have certain hustlers who'd pay to have mixtapes put out and pay to get shout outs, like the whole big up, shout out, big up this crew, big up that crew. That come from dances, and that followed through from dances in Jamaica and whatever else came through into the hip hop thing. So, if you're keeping a party, it makes you need to shout out, you need to acknowledge every single crew that's there, just so that nothing kicks off and stuff like that, and that interaction, that kind of hip hop leaning on the streets for kind of, or leaning on criminality or gangsterism or whatever you want to call it for credibility, that it was quite a dangerous mixture, I think. And once you put it in a package in something like NWA, or you kind of institutionalize it in a record label, like in the case of Death Row and Bad Boy, I mean, they're good examples. I mean, we kind of know what we know what comes of that. And I mean, the executives, the conglomerates, the parent companies, so Interscope or whatever, they don't really give a fuck. They don't care if Tupac dies, then they get to sell the art that he wanted to live on after him. Right? He was essentially, to them, the ideal. He's like this young, live fast, die young, fatalistic black man in America.
Yeah, I forgot you're the researcher as well. Third option. Yeah, we're gonna work on this thing together. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, though. Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, there's something there for future generations. I mean, it depends what message you leave. I mean, in the case of someone like Tupac, there's a lot, I think, for people to learn from. Like, I remember hitting 25 and being like, yo, Tupac didn't hit 25. I'm older than Tupac. I remember thinking that, like, when I hit 25, I was like,
he didn't die at 26.
I thought it was 26 he died.
I thought it was when I was 27, people.
Was it 26? Yeah, wait, 76. Yeah, 70. I think it was 25. I think he was born in 71, and I think he died in 96.
I'm gonna let you know from now, fam. The credibility of everything you said depends on this being right or wrong.
Oh, yeah, let me see that. Yeah, 71 to 96. Yeah. 71 to 96. He just, yeah. See, I had that, man. I had that. 25.
My thing.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, yeah. When I lit 26, yeah, I had that same thought, about Tupac.
You serious?
Trust me, I mean too as well, man. I was comparing myself to Tupac, fam.
Yeah.
Age levels. After that, raw, there ain't Tupac done bare things by this
age.
Bro, I think about that a lot, man. When I hit 30, I was like, that Tupac did more than this, man. Yeah. What? Nah, man, I got life to live still. But yeah,
the next one for me is 39 because Malcolm X 39.
Mad thing. Cool. What I want to say now, what I want to draw focus on now, still, I kind of address the youths them directly myself. I want to hear what the man them's opinions are on how man should treat this situation regarding the youth specifically, like directly. regarding the youths them directly that are keeping up the lyrics or the acting that man agree is detrimental as a detrimental effect. Like man ain't considering like we could take into account like why it's happening. It makes sense to actually if we're gonna look at what man could do in response to it. You get me? But yeah, this is what I want to hear from the rest of the people on the panel. Them still, what man believe is the best course of action to take directly in relation to the youths them that's keeping up this thing. Or does man believe that man shouldn't directly address them and work around the thing?
No, man should definitely address them, but I think as like man is grown now, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? So on a level, it's like it's not just about can we get through to the youth them, innit? Because there's multiple ways to get through to the youth them. What we should really be thinking about is what we're building for them. You know what I'm saying? Like if we want something different from the youth them that are coming up, we got to build for them, innit? And so when you're talking about us having media platforms, you know, funny enough, I was talking to Nat Nye yesterday about the same thing in terms of us doing like a thing on the music industry. And we were talking about who we're going to get together to do it. So yeah, we're on the same page, content, yeah, on that front. But my thing is that if we're talking about rewards, yeah, because there's definitely a reward out there for the music that you know is being promoted right about now. There's a reward in it. People can see success in it. So we've got to create a new paradigm whereby there are systems of reward. People can find avenues of success for saying something different. You know what I'm saying? And channel that. You know, funny enough, because we've got Kush TV here, we're getting artists now. One youth done a freestyle on Instagram and said, and he started the thing. Yeah, big up got Kush TV. Tell them they need me on Wordsmith. Yeah. And when I saw that, like, fam, the way it moved, man, yeah, because this you has seen a platform that can channel what he's trying to talk about in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's big still. Yeah. Big.
Right? Say again?
So that's big still. That's
right. You know what I'm saying?
Big still. It reinforces the importance of what you're doing. You get me?
Right. You know what I'm saying? But more importantly, it reinforces the fact that there are youth them out there that need these channels in it, that need to see people building things to reflect what they're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I feel like the more we promote that, then it's gonna have a different impact, because the more we're gonna see them seeing success in saying things like this, they're gonna see success and appreciation and love from their community, yeah, right, for the work that they're trying to do. Yeah. Now then there's the other stuff in terms of going to youth them and talking to them and rare. But the fact of the matter is, unless we're building institution, we're not solving this problem.
All right then. I hear that still because right now, like the trap is set right now. That there is institutions that's set up that like for the youths them, but as man can see, like only a handful of them benefit from it financially, and even the ones that do benefit from it financially, fam, man have to look over man's shoulder, because the crowd that they have to commit to performing and expressing, it just gets bare haters on, man, fam, and rightfully so, because you're talking bare hateful talk, you get me? So it's gonna breed that, you get me? So yeah, man, I hear you still with man build man's own platforms to a level where man can showcase their talent and they can earn living wages off of it. Then yeah, they won't have to fall into that trap there still. But it's those of us who's wise enough and who's got the knowledge, furthermore, to notice that there is a trap, to highlight that in it and make it common knowledge among man's community that are falling into that trap again. It's our responsibility still. I'm part of that still, sir. Yeah. All right. Anyone else want to address that?
I just want to say the brothers bang on. That's one of the main reasons why they ended up doing that in the first place, was because growing up they didn't see us having things already established that they could just find themselves a place in. So they couldn't see a gap where they could say, right, I can do that. I'm good at this. Let me fill that gap there. If we already had something rolling, whether it be music, whether it be sports, whatever it was, once it was a black thing that we're doing business with each other, however we're getting this money thing circulated amongst ourselves, they would have naturally just, they would have been raised that way to just go up and do that. That would have been part of the talk of the community. You get me? Their brethren would have been talking. Somebody around would have been talking about, let's go and do this. Let's go and see these brothers here. Do you get me? So I think Shaka's, hit it right on the spot. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
Can I say something? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. You done?
Yes.
With the IC3.
Yeah.
Who's that anti-African IC3? Curse of Ham
Oh,
IC3.
he's an international ethno-nationalist. He's not really anti.
Let's hear it.
Big up, IC.
I think what Shaka mentioned, this discussion is quite heavy. And you touched on so many very serious points. I'll start with what Shaka was saying about building an institution. That is definitely correct. But a lot of us don't know what it is or how to build an institution. And I'm trying to connect it with what Content was saying, that about the trap. I never thought of this. And I'm just learning from listening to you about this trap, in that there are people doing things quietly to try and develop something, and then there's others who start making money out of what people are doing quietly, which sucks them out from what they're doing. And then they think, well, somebody's making money out of what I'm doing. I might as well make some money myself. And then you come out of hiding, and then they continue to make money. And then you're the one that end up in prison, because you stayed in hiding because you didn't want to go in prison. But you're drawn out by the money making. So I was listening to watching another video of Content of Everything earlier on, and then somebody was saying that we've got to make money first, and then we sit down and decide how to organize and build institutions. I would say, I'm just going to finish on this point, I would say that is the wrong way round. You've got to build the institution from almost nothing. And that's how you get the tightness, so that when the money arrives, you can handle it. Because when the money arrives, that's when people's heads start getting dizzy.
I agree with that still.
Can I interject, actually? So, you're talking about things like institutionalizing and making money. Like back in the 1930s, back in the 1950s, it was, white people said that black people were more financially competent than white people. Now, when you say things like that today, people think, wow, that's amazing. I never knew that. But when you look at back in the 1930s, there was no thing like the minimum wage. So it was usually the guy who did the job for the less amount of money, the best, and was, had good work ethics, would get the job. So always it was black people getting employed, because they'll do these jobs and they'll do it at competitive prices. And then obviously the value of that black labor went up. And obviously, when you get people who win the lottery, a year later they end up broke, because black people knew how to handle money back then. That is what made, and when it came to the 1950s, there were a lot of black-owned businesses, because black people just knew how to handle money. Even Akala said, it's not about it's your ability to get wealth and handle wealth than actually having the wealth itself. And that I think that generally comes from, I think black people. I speak for myself. I worked for very low-paid jobs. And I just had a great work ethic. That's the reason why I'm not poor. I don't really earn that much money, but I don't know, maybe. So I just kind of got a bit lost.
No, I just it just made me think. There was a period of time I was watching. Anyone who knows about me, I watch a whole load of old dancehall videos, old dances, whatever. Yeah, and I'm watching some of these videos from the 80s, and I'm seeing the truck jewelry on people's necks in 1989 and 88 and them times, yeah. And I'm thinking, all right, cool. So I looked at the gold price in '88. Gold price was, it was. I mean, it wasn't what it was today. So what you bought, even in your local kind of high street, high road, whatever, for the price then, I mean, you could wear something substantial around your neck, on your rings, on your fingers, on your wrist, whatever it was. What happened to that wealth? Where did that wealth go?
Yeah, there's two things.
What happened? Think about every single estate in this country had Sierra Cosworths, had RS Escorts, had every type of hot hatch, had Saabs, Beamers, Mercedes of all different types, AMGs, all sorts. Even up to this day, you see it. But the wealth that you see today, it seems a lot more transient. It seems a lot more see-through. Transient in the sense that it's temporary. We see people rich for a period of time, and then they get locked up.
The man, I'm digressing enough, still.
But Dan, do you think people are poor because?
But as I was talking about the wealth, I mean, this is the thing. If people get money, and they come from if you come from poverty and you get money quickly, there's often problems in that kind of adjustment phase. And I think when it comes to hip hop, especially, that there was a generation that was making very fast money. It was a very short period of time, but people were making a lot of fast money. And a lot of people, I don't think, knew what to do with it. They weren't investing it. They weren't thinking about setting up businesses. What they were doing day to day was their business. And I think a lot of the problematic aspects of hip hop have come directly out of, I guess you could call it the war on drugs, the sort of Reagan era approach to foreign policy, and also, I suppose, domestic policy, social programs, social kind of stratification in the case of the US. But I mean, the same thing's happening here. The same thing's happening here now. I mean, this is like, this the sort of the crack era 2.0 has hit the UK, and kids think that, getting involved in that lifestyle, knowing the lingo. Yeah.
I kind of agree with you, but I mean, do you think people are poor because the government is making the ability to work your way into the middle class impossible, or do you think people have just become like less better at handling money due to I feel the very ineffective social programs that are around today?
That's a serious point there.
It's a serious point, but I can't speak to it. I didn't grow up in this generation. I know in my generation, people were talking about there being, not enough funding going into youth clubs, but that was with Labour. That was a Labour era. We all grew up. Most of us grew up under Tony Blair. Yeah. We went to school. Some people might have got EMAs. Do you remember when people used to get paid to go to college and school?
Yeah, EMA, yeah.
EMA, £20 a week or £40 a week. Yeah. Most of my brethren used to just buy drawers with that. Like that EMA, that EMA created some bad economies in schools. It created some crazy economies in school. But I don't know. I think going back to what IC3 was saying about institution building, I think very few people lack that kind of ability. I mean, it's one thing to build a kind of crew or a gang, or I don't know. You could even call it because a lot of these modern gangs that we're seeing, these off branches, their genesis is on social media. They're born on social media. They're locked up on social media. They get killed and die on social media. And I don't think anyone's really seen, I don't think you can point to much success in this. I mean, there's one or two institutions you could say, the media platforms that exist have been able to capitalize, but I don't know. I don't think the trickle down effect has really worked there. So I mean, I'm interested in what In what, you know?
But the
Wow.
ones who are successful.
Scattered minds, and I think how those institutions can actually be built, because it's one thing saying that you want to kind of you want to address the you want to address the kids. I mean, I think that can be done 100%. But then, you know, as Shaka said, what are you going to bring to them? So when they, what are you going to offer?
This is what I'm saying in response to Shaka's solution of building our own platforms, which I'm agreeing with as well. Well, like, it doesn't, even if we do have our own platforms, it doesn't mean that the trap platform ain't still going to be available to them, and it ain't going to be. They're probably going to because you know how the thing go from. If your objective is to target a certain demographic of people, because it's a good business model for whatever reason, you've seen a business model that works for this specific set of people, and then you see those people from among them start to organize in a manner where they demonstrate that they intend to do things for themselves. I don't think I'm just gonna allow that to happen without trying to make their thing look more attractive than it was before. You get me? Taking into consideration that they now have another option available to them. You get me? So I don't think just us building our own platform is gonna be enough. There's something this how I'm saying. There has to be some level of communication directly with the youth them, where I'm on a thing of raw man, like boom, I'm showing you X, Y, Z, why this thing is a trap, and why it's detrimental to the masses of our people, in the interest of a few of our people possibly financially benefiting from it. I'm gonna call those people sellouts, innit? Because if they're aware of the compromise what man's taking, and is choosing to go along with it, man's a sellout, innit? So that's my attempt to try alienate man. You get me? And make man feel like if I do that, then like it's like I can't come around. But the thing is that there's not much integrity around the man them anyway, fam. They'll probably look at me like I'm crazy, like the majority. Even man them who ain't in the trap, they might look at me like I'm crazy. You get me? So man have to have some solid network. I have to have a solid network where we got our thing to such a level where we can control ourselves and we can look after ourselves. We can provide for ourselves and our families while being righteous, quote unquote. And it's not no biblical or religious righteous. It's just a thing of, like Spike Lee said, doing the right thing and holding your head up high. You get me? Knowing that you're responsible for your needs. You get me? And you're taking care of that. You get me? So.
Yeah. Let me just in there quickly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Okay, yeah. I agree with a lot of what you're saying there, content. And I do think there definitely does need to be that reverse and that flip where we do start looking at people who are detrimental to the community through their lifestyle choices as sellouts as well. But at the same time, I think like yesterday when we was out at the event, and there's been a lot of conversation within the community about sort of, like I say, in drill music, the effect of drill music and all these sorts of lifestyles, and then Top Boy and its effect and stuff like that. And I think at some point we have to stop talking to the youth and actually start talking to the parents, because to some extent, to a large extent, I would argue that there's a young person, and I would argue that Shaka on this panel and many people like myself as well on this panel can watch a Top Boy or one of these channels and not necessarily get drawn in and affected by it. And I think there's more of a, we're never going to be able to remove, like you're saying, that option from people. People are always, you can build your institutions if you want, but those institutions that already exist, that have so much big funding and big backing, they're still going to be there. So what we have to actually start doing is start building more resilient young people who choose willingly to go for conscious food and conscious diets and conscious ideas, rather than always trying to force a situation where we're trying to change the environment. It's going to be impossible. Like I would say, it's damn near impossible to get rid of the drill platforms that are out there, that to stop young people wanting to see things like Top Boy and so on and so forth. What we need to do is actually start addressing, like some of the things around parenting and asking, while always looking at the young people to solve knife crime, like a lot of solutions are actually going to be with the parents. And the parents have to start noticing things and seeing things more often. And when we talk about parents, we're talking about two people, not just the mums. We're asking whether the father there, and not just accepting that the father's gone as a normal sort of thing in the community. But right, if you know a man that's like a deadbeat dad, that's a sellout as well. You understand?
Can I say, have you finished?
Yeah.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, I want to push it back now to what Shakabra was saying about institution and institution building. We've got to focus on what is an institution, how do you build it, and then how do you sustain it?
Okay, I can answer this.
Yeah, question there. Bomba. Yeah, no. Can I say though, yeah, very quickly, that the when we speak of institution building, obviously we're having a musical conversation, so man focus on the music. Yeah, at the same time, institution building is not restricted to music institutions. Yeah, it's going to take a multi-pronged approach. So even if we're going to be talking about going to speak to the youth, them, and you know what I'm saying, and I'm agreeing in the sense of the fact that just said in terms of that tastes are induced in it. Yeah, tastes. We don't just develop taste randomly in it. Like, the things that we like here are oftentimes induced in us. So we do need to develop a different sensibility that looks for certain things. Yeah, but when we're developing that sensibility, then we need the institutions that are providing that thing as well. Yeah, then we need the institutions that are going to work with families. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Work with youth. You know what I'm saying? And these kinds of things, yeah, to train them in certain kinds of ways. But my point is that all of this is institution building, just in the same way. And I remember I never spoke about necessarily getting rid of those other things, you know. At the same time, it does start with being able to build alternatives. Yeah, we have to be able to begin to affect the culture on a substantive level, and the only way to do that is to build alternatives. It's not going to change it overnight and whatever. This I'm saying, but where there's a strong, viable alternative, more people will gravitate towards that alternative if it is supported properly and developed properly.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so to back you up there, I want to try and get into this. It's very subtle, so I'm trying to get the right words. I'm trying to construct my words. I don't believe, I might sound a bit off now, but I don't believe that it's positive, it's good